Hello, this is Joseph. Joseph Again, self-contained. This is part two of Trump's deportation of the illegal alien. I left off this off. Go back to it in India. Part two. Going back to the book of Leviticus, chapter 19, verses 9 and 10, verses 32 to 34, in the Old Testament of the Bible. In those verses, the Lord referred to aliens that are in a particular land that is not theirs as aliens, not illegal aliens. So God in the Old Testament and Jesus in the Gospels, Jesus himself referred to them as aliens, not illegal aliens. Jesus referred to himself as a stranger in the land. In the Gospel of Matthew chapter 20, verses 21 through 46. And this, the account, it tells us that the way one treats his neighbor, a stranger, alien, is the way he sees himself being treated through them. One treats them basically with contempt. One who does not provide for them, who are hungry, thirsty, without clothing, without inviting them in. There is that with without inviting them in. Without looking after them, they are sick. Not visiting them, who are in prison. Jesus condemns like those people at the border, to the border. Says this. And to the one who does these things for a neighbor, stranger, and alien, he is pleased with. Jesus sees the alien as someone who is in need. Besides, what I have said is this: the United States is perfection. President Trump. The Electoral College, because he is the spokesperson for he's their leader. So how the fabric is, that is the United States, that comes from the president. The Electoral College system has voted for you, yes, but you need to see that you are like each other. That's something that they July 4th. My God, he goes wild. There's anybody. Forgive me. I am not talking about the so-called illegal alien, but the citizen who backs him up shows their evil. Trump is showing his evil. He treats his neighbor. That's like sort of sign of humor. It's not the sin of homosexuality. It's not. It's just how they treat people. When people came in from other countries, he came into the land, how they were treated. That's what cares. That's why the Son of God was taken to judgment. Run down with fire and brimstone because they hated their people. So, not only Donald Trump has shown his ego, but others around the country who cheer for his guy has shown it too. They both need to change. Repent. We all, in some way, need to repent. And believe the gospel of Jesus Christ. The Bible says, and I quote, how the mighty have fallen, said Samuel 1:25. The United States has fallen. President Donald Trump has proposed to, and will do, if he is successful, try and hide innocent and wrong those who have been convicted of a federal crime. It should be only for a federal crime, not a misdemeanor. And thrust them all out of the country together. This maneuver is right from the toast to it. But now, since he's not able to do it, he wants to just tell ICE, go get him. Go get anybody that's here. During Donald Trump's run for president of the United States, he proclaimed that if he were president, he would send all 11 million of what he called, the Republicans called, illegal aliens back to Mexico. These people that was like a terrible king with his army marching towards the land and proclaiming that he was going to bring them into captivity, interior from tomorrow. It was like that to them. They feared this terrible king. What were they going to do? Love him? To think that they should not hate him. This terrible king, Donald Trump, that is. Think again. That is the Bible of the 30 states. The 30 states. God loved us before he loved him. Donald Trump first hated them. Therefore, they hated him. And you can portray yourself. So we want to love, we want to not to want to maybe you hate is what you're going to do to them. Amy Garcia's husband, Jorge Garcia of Michigan, was deported, separated from his wife and children by ICE, and sent back to Mexico on January 15, 2018. He came to the United States. He was only about 10 years old. He was innocent of wrongdoing. The only crime that he committed was being a so-called illegal alien. One incident was when a mother and daughter seeking asylum from the Democratic Republic of Congo in Africa, the United States, seeking asylum to the United States. We were in the United States. The mother and daughter were separated by the United States government. The mother was sent to California, and the daughter was sent to Chicago. They are not illegal before God Almighty. In 2017, the majority of those arrested were first convicted or charged with crime. Though many of those crimes were low-level traffic offenses, still some were innocent of all of being in the country illegally. The number of non-criminal immigrants arrested in 2017 increased up to 13,600, compared to 5,498 in 2016. There have been plenty of migrant families. So what is that? 2016, 2017, 2020? There have been plenty of migrant families coming to the United States seeking asylum at the United States border, seeing themselves separated from their children. Migrants seeking asylum at the border according to law are legal. And President Donald Trump blamed the Democrats for parents being separated from their children. Jesus calls even himself an alien, a stranger to the earth. But if Jesus himself were in the United States today, he would be viewed as an illegal alien. He is the creator and owner of all. Jesus, along with his Father, created the heavens and earth, and all that is in them, man being the crowning of all his creation. Government was created by God himself for the people's sake and for their benefit, not for man's detriment. He sets the rules and he can set them aside. However, he does not set aside his moral law. In the first epistle of Peter, chapter 2, verse 11 to 12, he talks to Christians and says, Beloved, I urge you as aliens and strangers, keep your behavior excellent in the land. For as long as they keep the law, they shall live in peace. But if the inhabitants should get jealous or have a dislike for you, or even want you out, let that be on them. Let that not be because you did something against the law, like murder, rape, or robbery for gain. Keep with what is believed to be good behavior amongst the inhabitants. As for Peter, I was going to say, if you keep yourselves above reproach, innocent of the law, and all they have against you is that you are illegal, then I will have something against them. For God in Malachi, that's what the chapter 3, verse 5 says, Then I draw near to your judgment, I will be a swift witness against those who trust the Son of God, and do not fear me, so for the first. If you are being mistreated and filled up with evildoers, do not sin with your mouth. Continue to obey the law, and continue with your excellent behavior. The Proverbs 16, verse 1 tells us, gentle answer turns away wrath, Our harsh words words of anger. James 1:19-20 says this. Everyone shall be quick to hear, so to speak, slow to anger, to become angry, because the anger of man does not accomplish the righteousness of God. And the following verse, James chapter 1, verse 21 says, therefore get rid of all worldliness and all the evil that is so prevalent in the humbly accept the word plain in you, which you can save you. He can save you from angry and unjust men, and those who would want to cause harm to you. So get rid of all moral filth and evil that is so easily entangled you, and humble yourselves under the mighty hand of God. Excuse me. God is opposed to the proud, but gives grace to the humble. James chapter 1, verse 22. Do not merely listen to the word, so deceive yourselves. Do what it says. Keeping of God's commandments is proof that you love him. But Jesus says in the Gospel of John, if you love me, keep my commandments. In John chapter 15, in the New Testament, still in the New Testament, here's the Gospel of John, chapter 15, verse 21 through 24. Jesus goes on to say, when I write my commands and keeps them, is the one who loves me. The one who loves me will be loved by my Father. And I too will love them and show myself to them. Everyone who loves me will obey my teaching. The Father will love them, we will come to them and will make our home with them. Anyone who does not love me will not obey my teaching. These words you hear are not my own, but they belong to the Father who sent me. It also says in Exodus chapter 20, verse 1 through 6, when God gave his 10 commandments to the people, it begins with, and God spoke all these words, I am the Lord your God, who brought you out of Egypt, out of the land of slavery. You shall have no other gods before me. So not make for yourself an image in the form of anything in heaven, above, or on the earth beneath, or in the waters below. So not bow down to them or worship them. For I, the Lord your God, am a just God, punishing the children for the sin of the parents, the third and fourth generation, those who hate me, and showing love to 1,000 generations, those who love me to my commandments. You see in the Gospels of the New Testament, giving the 10 commandments by God and ultimately. Exodus chapter 20. They're given again to the people in Deuteronomy chapter 10. The Lord God tells us, if you love me, you'll keep my commandments. Those who do not love me, will hate me. Those who do not. This is why I go back and forth from Old Testament to New Testament, New Testament, Old Testament. But do this to prove scripturally that this Jesus is the Christ, the Son of God, God in the flesh. And I do this to show Jesus' words to the very words of the God of the Old Testament, and that God's word is the same yesterday, today, and forever. As Hebrews chapter 13 comes out. Jesus Christ is the same yesterday, today, and forever. He is the same in the Gospels as he is in the Old Testament, and he is the same forever. He is gracious, merciful, and kind. But he is just and a rewarder of righteousness. He is a hater of sin against those who are proud and holy. He is against those who are self-righteous. When God's people Israel were delivered from the slavery of Egypt, they were led by God into the wilderness. They camped there the rest of the land of Canaan. When it was time to enter the land, they had to cross first the Jordan River, and crossing there they came upon a city with walls, Jericho, where they had to go to war against it. After defeating Jericho, they moved into a nation called Ai. And there they had to fight more wars throughout the land of Egypt, and then Canaan. This land was the promised land of God, and they had given to their father, given to Isaac, and then to Jacob. They had to travel through many borders to receive the land. I say this in light of the Mexicans who crossed the border to the United States. God allowed the Israelites to cross borders to escape oppression from Egypt. There was no violation that made them illegal aliens from God. God understands why one day want to escape oppression. So he allowed this, obviously. He sanctioned this deliverance. God allows escape from oppression or slavery. He is the God of compassion. His people escape from oppression. In the book of Acts, chapter 1, verse 73, it reads it. Jesus said to his disciples, this is after the death of the book of Acts, chapter 1, verse 73. Jesus said to his disciples, This was after his resurrection. He said to them, "It is not for you to know the times or days on the sea, as earth ever, but you will see power and the Holy Spirit come upon you. You will be my witnesses in Jerusalem, and in all Judea and Samaria, and to the ends of the earth." Jesus said of himself, "If he was persecuted, so will he be also." And they were. As his disciples scattered from the persecution, they left Jerusalem. They went to Judea, then to Samaria, and then to all nations throughout to the ends of the earth, preaching the gospel as they went. They obviously crossed borders that would take them to Judea, then Samaria, and then to the ends of the earth. There, wherever they went, they said and preached about Jesus the Savior. God did not call them, we sanctioned them. There they preached about Jesus, authority, given to them by God to do this. In Gospel, Matthew chapter 28, verse 18 to 20, Jesus came to his disciples and said, "All authority in heaven and earth has been given to me. Therefore go and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and the Holy Spirit, teaching them to obey everything I have commanded you. Surely I am with you always, even to the very end of days." God was with them as they scattered to all nations throughout to the ends of the earth, through borders, through every country. They were not leaving the sanctuary. He allowed their crossing the borders of many nations, so they could spread his glory throughout the world. Today, the glory of the Lord Jesus Christ is known throughout the world. They were sojourners, foreigners, aliens, wherever they went, not illegal in God's sight. In 1 Peter 4:15, Peter says, "If you suffer, it should not be as a murderer, or a thief, or any other kind of criminal, even as a meddler. If you commit a crime such as murder, robbery, rape, and you're not an official innocent citizen, you can be subject to deportation, and only after one is tried in court is fairly and mercifully judged guilty. Or if you did murder or rape or rob a bank, you will be deported. A troublesome meddler, however, is not a criminal applicable with law authorities and the President of the United States. These two groups shall not be put together. Running a stop sign on a traffic light is not a federal offense. They gotta give you up. But you'll suffer for it under the law. In this case, treated as a native woman. Treated as a native woman. Because God said to the people, treat the alien as a native woman. Jesus, along with his Father, created the heavens and earth and all that is in it. The creation of man is the crowning work. Man is created to rule the earth and all that is in it. Genesis 1:26-27. And God said, "Let us make mankind in our image and our likeness, so that they may rule the fish in the sea, the birds in the sky, over the livestock, over all the wild animals, and over all the creatures that move on the ground." So God created mankind in his own image. In the image of God created male and female created. He also made man subject to government authority. His government authority is a reflection of the authority of God. His government authority is not for man's statute for his benefit. He is not to be ruled by dictators or tyranny, but by God working through proper and good authorities. He sets the rules in place and gets set aside. Consider the rules. Not his moral law, no. His moral law is set in God's word of the Bible, should not change or be changed by man. He awards righteousness and goodness and punishes sin. He is the same yesterday, today, and forever. Jeremiah 9:22-24. This is what Peter says: "Let not the wise man boast of his wisdom, or the strong man boast of his strength, or the rich man boast of his riches, or let the money boast of this, that they have understanding to know me, I am the Lord, who exercise kindness." But we come to understanding, to know God, being God, He's the giver of wisdom. those things. See, me is the Lord. It goes on saying, I'm the Lord, he says, who exercises kindness, justice, and righteousness. For in these I dwell, the one who exercises kindness, the one who exercises justice, the one who exercises righteousness on the earth is Christ the Lord. When we like to why does the lightning boast in wisdom? Why does strong boast in strength? Why does rich man boast in riches? Why does he say that they are his? God is the one who gives wisdom, God is the one who gives strength. God is the one who gives riches to him. Without him, they could do nothing, they would have nothing, they would be nothing. The wise men of this world, strong men of this world, the wicked of this world, so much of what they can offer, hoping to solve the problems that we all are facing in this country. In the other countries around the world, are hardly anything is being solved. Wisdom, strength, and riches come from God. They belong to him, we can take them away, take them back. Righteousness and goodness are God's own. By faith, apart from works, we can receive these virtues of righteousness and goodness from him. Because if man does not possess these virtues for himself, they have to be given to him by God. So that he will boast in this alone. That he understands and knows me, the one who follows sin, that is, his only begotten Son, Lord Jesus Christ. Sin, the earth to die, and the raised from the dead, sat in the right hand of the Father, and made the way for salvation to all who believe in him. This is true understanding. Next, this is chapter 2, book, part 2, June 23rd, Sunday, 11 o'clock. And the part 3 of Trump's deportation. You spread the word. Tell them 11 o'clock. Make sure it's got it. Come off it. Go to YouTube and then daily is the daily. See all my videos. See you then. That'll be Sunday, June 23rd.